Friends, our mutual friend. The name of this novel is written by Charles Dickens. Our mutual friend opens with a grim scene, the discovery of a dead body in the river Thames. Documents indicate that the man is John Harmon, heir to a vast fortune amassed from dust heaps, mounds of discarded rubbish, and coal dust, which could be both scavenged for valuables and resold to be recycled into new material. His father, old Mr. Harmon, was notoriously cold and greedy and had alienated his son, leading to John Harmon living abroad for years. When he died, old Mr. Harmon's will had stipulated that his son could only inherit the fortune if he married a woman of his father's choosing. If John Harmon refused to do so, the fortune passed to Noddy Boffin, an employee who had faithfully served the Harmon family for decades. With the ruling of John Harmon's death, Boffin and his wife are suddenly elevated to vast wealth and high social standing. The death also seriously impact another family, the woman old Mr. Harmon had selected as a bride for his son, is Bela Wilfer, the daughter of the modest clerk. Her prospect of becoming very wealthy upon her marriage are now destroyed, and Mr. and Mrs. Buffin show a sympathy for her situation by having her come and live with them. The discovery of the body and the surprising transfer of the fortune also sends ripples of impact through a wide ranging cast of characters of very different backgrounds. The body is discovered by a man named Gaffer Haxem, who makes a living retrieving bodies from the river. But this particular discovery cast suspicions on whether he might have had something to do with the death, and those suspicious are publicized and promoted by another riverman, Rock Riderhood. Two lawyers, Mortimer Lightwood and Eugene Rayburn, are involved in the recovery of the body and the confirmation of the identity. As a result of this process, Rayburn observed Gaffer's young daughter Lizzie and is struck by her beauty. The rise of the boffin creates a social stir among a cycle of new money London families who cluster around the wealthy and socially ambitious Vannerings. It also impacts a street peddler named Siles Week, who is hired by Boffin to come and read to him. Last but not least, shortly after the discovery of the body, a secretive man named John Rocksmith first takes lodging at the Wilfer house and then is later hired by Mr. Boffin to act as his private secretary. As time passes, the fallout from the Harmon murder seemed to lead largely to greed, manipulation, and plots of betrayal. As a reward of his services, Buffin offers Siles Wegg the chance to live at the former Harmon residence, since he was now moved to fashionable mansion, but Wegg uses his opportunity to search the property for something he can use against Buffin. Hexam is also found drowned in the river. His son Charlie has been sent away to school, but has fallen under the influence of a schoolmaster named Bradley Headstone, who becomes obsessed with Lizzie. Rocksmith has to use his position as secretary to try to protect Buffin from the many socially climbing individual who would exploit him for his fortune. Subplot demonstrates the greed and the treachery of the fashionable world, such as when a couple named Mr. and Mrs. Lamley discovered after their marriage that each has been trying to trick the other and then go to the plot how to exploit vulnerable heiresses with the help of a con man named Fletchby. Rocksmith proposes to Bela, but she refuses because she's preoccupied with marrying a wealthy man. Perhaps most alarmingly, Buffin is becoming increasingly paranoid and obsessive about his fortune, which leads him to cruelly mistreat his secretary. Finally, Buffin fires his secretary for no reason, leading Bela to call him out for having becoming a cruel man and leave the Buffin household. She and John marry since she now understands that love is more important than money. After they have been married for some time and Bela has given birth to a daughter, John reveals two major secrets to her. The first is that he is actually John Harmon. On the night he returned to England, he was drugged, attacked, and dumped into the river, but managed to survive. Previous to the attack, he had switched clothes with another sailor, which led to the confusion of identities, and John took advantage of this opportunity to see what Bela was truly like. He and Buffins also tricked her by having Mr. Buffin pretended to be a greedy and cruel in order to see if Bela was truly a good person. Now that she has shown her faithfulness and integrity, the Buffin returns the Harmon fortune to the young couple. Weg's plot against Buffin is foiled, and he is cast out. Meanwhile, Headstone's jealousy leads him to attack and nearly kill Wrayburn, whom he has identified as his rival for Leslie's affection. However, Leslie is able to rescue Wrayburn, and the two marry while they recover from his injuries. Furious that his plan has failed, Headstone attacks Riderhood, who was implicated in the near murder of Harmon and has been helping him with his plot to kill Wrayburn. Both men die while struggling together. So this is the story of Our Mutual Friend by Charles Dickens. There are many characters in this novel. Leslie Hexam is the daughter of Geoffrey Hexam and the sister of Charlie. She is persuaded by both Wrayburn and Headstone. Although she loves the former, she is concerned with the gap in their social class and education. Throughout the novel, Lizzie shows integrity, kindness, and bravery, and she is rewarded at the end of plot the happy marriage to Wrayburn. Eugene Wrayburn is a young lawyer and a close friend of Mortimer Lightfoot. He falls in love with Lizzie almost as soon as he meets her. John Harmon, John Rocksmith, Julius Hanford, these are the another characters. Siles Week is a street peddler and ballet seller with a wooden leg. He is hired by Boffin to read to him, even though Silas himself is not well educated and is eventually given the opportunity to live in the former Harmon's house. Noddy Boffin begins his life as a humble employee for Mr. Harmon. Mrs. Buffin, the wife of Noddy Buffin, she seems more socially conscious than her husband and more interested in what her changing social status means for her. Bela Wilfer is a beautiful and charming young woman who has grown up in a family with a modest income and with the strange prospect of knowing she will someday marrying a man she has never met. She is both relieved and frustrated when John Harmon is pronounced dead. Charlie Hexam is the son of Gaffer Hexam and the brother of Lizzie. Mortimer Lightfoot is a lawyer whose professional practice focused on the Harmon family and their inheritance. Jenny Wren is a teenager girl who makes a living by making clothes for dolls. She is also responsible for caring for her alcoholic father. Mr. Rhea is a Jewish man who managed Fledgeby's money lending business. Bradley Headstone is a teacher at the school where Charlie Hexam studies, and he meets Leslie through this connection. Mr. Venus works as a taxidermist. He is in love with Mr. Pleasant Riderhood, Mr. Alfred Lamley, Georgia Portsmouth, Fledgeby, Rogie Rainwood, Mr. Wilfer, Mr. Inspector, Mr. and Mrs. Portsnap, Mrs. Wilfer. These are the characters and many more are involved in this novel. I hope you will enjoy this, our mutual friend, while you read this by Charles Dickens. Thank you very much.